we burned when we had like to survive him. It was like those kind of moments will keep us like joyful and keep us wish to stay in that place for another 10 years to help another baby. And so it was just that mix of the inspirations moment and the horror.
So Ed, you were the directing partner with WAD, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit. There's probably a ton of people here who see a lot of documentaries, and if you know how documentaries are made, they're oftentimes made in the edit room. The story that we find in the edit is really how a film emerges. And you guys had many iterations in a couple of years of work. Talk to me about how you and of course WAD decided on Sama.
Well, yeah, it was a long process. WAD had shot over 500 hours of material, all of it. So, well, it was the first time I saw it, I thought it was the most extraordinary archive of documentary film that had ever existed, because it not only captured the horror, as you've seen, but also so much life, so much humanity, so much of the spirit of people and the truth of Syria, which I don't think we've ever seen before in the way that she captured. And there were so many stories to tell in her footage. There was the story of their lives, their friends, the hospital, the city, and the whole course of the conflict. So that was why for 2 years we had a lot of excellent conversations. But as a process, it was like sculpting this down. And when you have something so big, sometimes that when you shrink it, you lose the essence of it. And that's the real challenge, because as like filmmakers, we're trying to hear what the footage itself wants to be. The film knows what it wants to be, and we're just trying to tune into that. And so it was.
It took us 2 years on this.
Yeah, we're deaf basically. And but yeah, after about a year and 5 months, there was just a moment where literally we're sitting together, and just it was suddenly so clear to both of us that their struggle was for Sama, their lives were for Sama, and everything in the footage was infused with this conversation with her daughter even before Sama was born. And so that was where the idea for Sama hit us both.
So you're Sama's parents, and I'm a mother as well. How do you think Sama's gonna see? How is she gonna see this when she watches this? Talk to me about her response.
Living in the UK now, I hope she doesn't sue us. Like someone telling you have the right to sue them living in the social justice.
I do know that about British law. It's very different.
Like, I hope that it will just bring some justice to our story, that we're faced by all this like propaganda and fake news that it's all what's happening in Syria was about ISIS, it's all about Russia and the Syrian regime, we're fighting the jihadists, etc. So at least it's just like give not only for Sama but for everyone, basically, and for history, the human face of this story, that the regime can never like deny that those people lived there and they were that's what really happened.
Why? Can you talk a little bit about what's going on in Syria now before we open it up to the crowd?
So, unfortunately, what you've seen in the film, it happened with us 3 years ago, but it's still happening every day. And if you look at the news today, maybe you will not hear about Syria at all, maybe you will hear a little bit. But this is the circumstances, and even worse than what we went through. People now lives in the last area out of the regime control, and it's a city called Idlib. This city has around 3 million people. All these people, they've experienced the same circumstances before in Aleppo or in Ghouta, the countryside of Damascus, and Daraa city also. So these people, around 3 million people, as I mentioned, it's all living in that circumstances where they are under attack, and they don't know what next is waiting for them. And they threatened at any moment that the Russian or Assad regime will just take over their area. So unfortunately, this is what's happening right now. And if you just the New York Times, for example, last month they published an investigation about attacking hospitals, and they have a lot of powerful evidence about who's doing this and what's happening with them. And just today they follow up that investigation to speak more about the situation right now. So please, everyone, now it's not a lot in the news, so anyone can speak about it, anyone can spread the word about what's happening in Syria. That will help more to understand about what's going on right now.
Hamza, I'm sorry, I just have to ask one more question of you. Are you a practicing doctor right now? What are you up to?
At the moment, like I just decided not to be like practicing medicine at the moment. So I'm working with a company in the UK, social impact company, about helping organizations sending funds to Syria. So dealing with the banks, explaining why the money is going to Syria, why like it shouldn't be banned by the banks because it's going to hospitals, etc. Now we're helping funding like more than, yesterday the number was 32, today was 37. So we're having
Just
funding
last night you said
37.
32 on stage. That's amazing.
37 hospitals.
Congratulations. We'd love to have questions from the crowd. Yes, sir, in the back. And if you could stand up, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Amazing film, very hard to watch. My question to you is, 2016, you were busy doing all these great things, and Aleppo was an election here in the U.S. I'm wondering if you followed much of the debate about Syria, about having no-fly zone or no-fly zone. Is that something that you want to happen? You think would have helped? How much people in Syria were in tune with what's happening in the U.S. especially in Palestine?
So just for everyone, the question, but also to make it clear for me, was if during the last few months of Aleppo, if you were following what's going on about the debates about no-fly zone in the area, or like aid droppings, etc. So basically, this is one of our main demands, because the Syrian regime would never be able to siege Aleppo or take any other like meter of the area unless of the help of the Russian aircraft. And one of our main demands was to the no-flight zone, to ban like the war flights over Aleppo. We also demanded about like doing some aid drops, even though that the people, we weren't like that. Like there wasn't a starvation, we weren't starving, but at least it will show that the international community, like it will help the resilience of the community, that the people outside, or like the UN or whomever, is caring about the 3,000 people that were sieged. Unfortunately, none of that happened, and the last thing that I remember, when I know that 100% that's it and nobody will do anything, by the beginning of December, when I had a call from the WHO, and they said that we have a great idea to protect the hospital, and it was the last hospital in Aleppo. The Russian has targeted the other 9 hospitals. And I was very keen to hear what they have to say. And they told me we were communicating with the Russian, and they said that they don't know where the hospital is, and it might be found by mistake. So if you please give us the location, the coordinates of the hospital, to share it with the Russian. And I literally was silent for 30 seconds, and then the first thing that I told him, and he was very angry because I said that, so I'm like, are you new to the mission here? And he was angry, why are we saying this, etc. And I just ended the call and then told everyone that if this is the WHO solution and the UN solution, then that's it. And in a week, we were displaced. So we asked for a lot of intervention, at least to stop the Russian interventions, but unfortunately nothing of that happened.
So I'll ask a question. Ed, when you were thinking about telling this story, were you afraid that a story like this wouldn't resonate, and what have you seen?
Yeah, I think one of the things during the 2 years that we were working together was so many people. I mean, you guys were incredible at Frontline for supporting us, because so many people said, oh, the world has had enough of Syria. You know, people are bored of it, no one understands it, everyone thinks everyone's as bad as each other. And really, right up until the point when we finished it, we thought that maybe it would be shown on Frontline, maybe get to one festival and disappear. And what we've seen is this extraordinary reaction from across the world. We've taken the film to South Africa, to Mexico, to Kosovo, to Macedonia, to all across the UK and the States, and even the demilitarized zone of Korea. And everywhere we've gone, people have responded in the way that you guys just did. And that really gives us all such hope, because it makes you think. So it's such a cliche now, everyone's apathetic, no one cares, they all care about themselves. That's not been our experience at all. People are so engaged. They always ask, like, what can we do? Or apologise, as I feel is the right thing to do for all of us who lived in the West, to allow this to happen on our watch, you know, to allow these crimes to be committed. And so, yeah, it's been an incredible thing that makes you restore a little bit of your faith in humanity.
Well, I know people are going to ask you after, what can people do actually?
So for this great question, which we feel at any time that someone asking this, like that we did it in the point that people not just want to watch, but also to do something. We launched our impact campaign like 1 month ago, and it's called Action for Sama. So please everyone, like if you can visit the website www.actionforsama.com and follow For Sama Film and Action for Sama on social media. We've trying to work hard to at least like give people some tools to do something, to be involved in the serious situation and what's happening right now, and be in solidarity with the people who still like suffering inside Syria and the incredible doctors around many places and many hospitals inside Syria. So we need the help from everyone to spread the word about the film, make everyone who you know to watch it, like your neighborhoods, the driver bus, anyone like you really think that can at least like have more knowledge about what's happening. And it will be on Frontline next Tuesday, so that's also a great opportunity.
promo.
So people can really be like helping with this and can be, now we've done what we can do, and now it's your responsibility all to help us to spread the word as much as we can.
I just want to add, like, basically, like, humanize the Syrian again. In the beginning of 2011, 2012, all the reports and the media was about this great revolution against the dictatorship. Nobody was like talking anything like else but this. But then it all became about like refugees crisis, ISIS, jihadists, etc. And we forget about the reason why it's all started, because of the dictatorship, because of that maniac in the head of this government. And I wish that by this awareness about Syria, like to just, now you know, and we hope that everyone know that it's not about refugees. The refugees crisis will not happen in the first place unless of the dictatorship. ISIS will not happen unless of the dictatorship, and like allowing all the guns and jihadists out of their prisons. And so many other like crises in this world will not happen if that dictatorship wasn't in control. So, like, just this is the reality about how Syria started and how it could end, if ever.
Great. Are there any other questions? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for your work. Hamza, you did not go into this as a surgeon, correct? You didn't start as a surgeon.
No.
Can you talk a bit about how doctors like yourself had to become trauma surgeons under those circumstances? And why? I know, Hamza, you said that children are fine, but how do Syrian mothers like yourself approach kind of trauma and with their children? How do you talk about what's happening at home? How do you approach that?
So basically, I've never done an operation by myself as an operation. So because this is a lot of like how we didn't do any experience on patients. So there was like trained doctors that have done like very experienced doctors were also with us. And based on that, we just divided the responsibility. So for example, I was the first line at the hospital at the emergency room with other resident doctor, and the surgeons of the operation room, etc. But it's still like those like cases, we never had them in any guidelines. Like I've never read anything about chlorine gas attacks and how to treat them. There's no like clear guideline in my books that I've ever come around. So we had just to develop some guidelines, read more about other stuff, read about like some other like experience in another like part of other conflicts, how they deal with this, what they did, and like in every new case that we had, we just developed our guideline based on the resources we have and based also on the staff and experience. And like this is then we just print them, put them at the hospital wall, and like this is what we will do if any cases like this happen, etc.
So about Sama, like she's now really so good. But we also, right after we left, like there was very clear effect about what we went through, and she was like in many times like waking up at night and screaming, even like not crying in very like strange way. And we suffered like around 6 months of this, and it was so clear about what she went through. We tried so hard to contact with many doctors and therapists, and we were at that time in Turkey, in Gaziantep, and there's no like a good doctors where you can like speak with them. So we had many contact online with some friends who Hamza knew, and we all of them like agreed that we couldn't do something directly to her now because she's still like 1 year and a half. But what can we do is like list of things to provide her with some of the routine and things where she can like calm down a little bit. And with the time, around like 6 months took us to like she much better. Like so far, it's like I can feel that she's normally as any child. Rarely, some nights there's something similar to that situation. But all of them also said that usually like children under 2 years old, they still have some dreams in their mind, and you don't know when that will be back again. So maybe when she will be like 10 or 15. The only thing that we can do now is just like more check about, be aware that if anything happened, we can be like interfere. So far, she's not speaking about anything before. She hasn't even watched anything from the film apart of some of the wedding scene and when she was born. 2 days before we came here, she watched the trailer for the first time, and that's because it's online on YouTube. So she usually like watch some cartoons, and she watched her face. She was so excited, like, "Mommy, Sama, Sama!" And she played that. And I wanted to cut it off before she started, and then I felt that like she could watch that alone. So I'm now here. I can just like see what's happening. And she was like so excited about everything, and even when Hamza cried, she was like, "Mommy, that is crying." And she was so happy about this. And one of the scene when the hospital attack happened, she was like watching like this, and then she said like, "Mommy, where's Sama? What happened to Sama?" And I was like, "Sama, you are here now." She was like, "Yeah, okay." So I literally don't know when she watched it, but I expect that at any time she could watch it. But also like what you've seen in this film, like we and Sama, we are the lucky people of Syria. We are the people who could have been here tonight, share the story with you. We still like strong, our daughter is fine. No one of us like had any very direct injury or something. And just like imagine how many people who couldn't make it out, who really lost their kids, and you've seen them in the film. So literally I can't even like put myself in their shoes and imagine about this. And I don't think any one of us can do this, but I've just like pushed that to stop at any second as quick as we can, and to start deal with all the trauma that will be like up later when everything will be finished.
Just a final question, yes,
Yeah,
please.
I just like everybody I know was thinking that this is incredibly powerful and important contribution to our understanding of the war. With great personal sacrifice on your parts, for all the reasons that we can understand and what you just expressed. I'm changing the subject a little bit just to honor, however, the work that you've done, because the long hours of footage that you have that are still different than what you've shown. We need to be sure that those are saved and organized and analyzed, because for people who want to understand what happened in Aleppo, which is the flagship city, so to speak, in terms of the suffering and the participation of the public, this really needs to be an historic document. And this is something that will be part of war crimes trial. We haven't had a chance to get to that place. So I'm hoping that you're looking at it.
Yeah, actually, it's a really wonderful point, and the filmmakers and I are talking about how we can catalog this material, and we actually did it with the Mladic trial, and we have a Rocco Mladic film that aired in the spring, which did exactly that. It worked off an archive of incredible footage that really became evidence. So what you said is absolutely true, and we're talking about how we can do that because it's all very important evidence.
not only like the footage that Watt has, also communicated with so many other like citizen journalists that were in Aleppo. And they had also a lot big archive in front of them. So we're trying to gather all of this. As you said, like one day it will be used, and one day hopefully like justice. The only like solution that I can see for Syria and like for the children is justice. Imagine that boy that had to carry his injured brother to the hospital, and then see him dead, and then see his mother carrying him in the street. That will not be like healed by any like reconstruction or any new constitution or election. It will only be healed by justice when he knew someday, even if after 10 years or 20 years, on the front page, that pilot who has, and that commander who gave the command, and the pilot who has thrown the explosive barrel on their neighborhoods is on trial.
Thank you all for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.